Whoa, he has trouble with the snap, and the ball is free. Okay, next question.
I'm a horse football coach right now.
You know, it got shoved up, shoved it up. It got shoved, right?
Let's go kick some ass.
Good evening, Spartan Savants. We are coming off a good old-fashioned Big Ten rock fight in the Breslin Center. Michigan State beating Minnesota 76-66. I'm joined here today with Willie, having little technical issues. I think we finally got that fixed. And Mobile Travis, he's in the great state of Michigan, and he is actually in the car right now, so he cannot show you his face. How are you doing today?
It's dark. Who was that too? Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Oh,
You,
how's
Travis.
it going today, Travis?
Yeah, it's been a tough week, but we got a couple wins in a row, move up those Big Ten standings. Lions are on fire, so good sports week so far. A lot to talk about.
That's good. That's good. Sorry that it's been a rough week besides that. Willie, how are you?
I'm good. I mean, like Trev said, I mean, Lions big victory on Sunday. Still feeling pretty good about that. And nice to see the Spartans get one. Lots to unpack. I don't think the story or the score quite tells the full story of that one, but I'm sure we'll get into all that. But in any event, good to come out with a double-digit win in the conference too.
Agree. Willie, you did say that the score did not show the full story. Well, let's get our typewriters out and let's kind of paint the picture of this Spartan victory. So I have a couple of things I wanted to let out. One thing is I would have had a lot more to say if we lost. I would have been way more angry. Now that it's been about like 30 minutes since the end of the game, I've cooled down quite a bit. Willie, give me your thoughts here.
Yeah, I mean, just like I said, I mean, you look at this. If you didn't watch the game, you saw a 10-point win, you probably were like, "Oh, nice, Spartans played great." And I think that parts of the game they did at the offense, played pretty well. I mean, they pretty much matched Minnesota. Obviously the free throws got better down the stretch. I think at one point though, we're like 8 for 15 or something. I can't remember quite what it was, but it wasn't pretty. They just let them linger. And like you said, Nikki, like a half hour ago, I had a little more stronger opinions, but having sit on it for a little bit now, a 10-point win is a 10-point win. Nice night from Malik Hall. I think, like you said, Nikki, he is the classic. Just when I think I'm out, he lets me right, or he gets me right back in. He played great, I thought. 21 points from Walker. I mean, that's what he does. Good to see him close it out down the stretch. I really was not happy with the way that the game went for probably 3/4 of the game. They really let Minnesota linger. Minnesota had 17 turnovers, and we were only up by 2 points. Minnesota was in foul trouble the entire second half. We just couldn't pull away. But definitely a game where trading baskets. It was nice to see our offense, withstand some runs and match them point for point or basket for basket. Didn't really have that too much of a cold stretch. I think there was one situation or one point of the game where we were 1 for our last 8, but righted the ship pretty quickly. And again, came out with the win. So,
Yeah, Travis.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you take the 10-point win, but at home without their point guard, it feels like we should have won by a lot more. And foul shooting was a problem. I believe it was 8 for 16 at one point, like he was saying. So there's just some inconsistencies. I felt like, we didn't have that extended dry spell really, but we never really put them away and we kind of let them hang around. And you can't keep doing that against all these teams. And we didn't really, what we like to do is dictate the pace with the transition game and everything. And we didn't really get out in that. It was much more of a half-court game, especially in the second half. And that's something that we've said we've had to get better at so far. And I'll take the win at this point because we're stacking a couple wins in a row, but it needs to get better.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're what 3-4 in the Big Ten is a lot better than 2-5. That
We're
is,
also 0-3 on the road.
Yeah, we gotta
yeah,
figure that
like
out.
every Big Ten.
That
So
One thing I think that you mentioned, Travis, dictating the pace. I feel like that's something we really haven't been able to do very
Yeah.
much this year. I feel like we get caught in these half-court games, which obviously is not our strong point. So I don't know what needs to change there. I'm not a basketball genius by any means. Um, I don't know if it's a game planning thing or maybe this just isn't the team that's going to be able to do that. But we all know Izzo's teams. He likes to get out and run, but it feels like we just haven't been able to do that at least for the last few games. Maybe Penn State, but feels like we're getting caught in these half-court games or a lot of these situations where we have to run this half-court offense, which is tough to watch.
Yeah, and I think a lot of what would help with that is Akins and Hogard. They didn't shoot the ball well at all tonight. Hogard was 4 for 10. He did have 7 assists, but 4 for 10 from the field. Akins was 5 for 14 with 0 for 5 from 3-point range.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just not the kind of play we need out of those guys.
Yeah, rough shooting night in general,
Yeah.
3 for 12 from 3-point.
Yeah.
Team.
Yeah, 25% from 3, 44.6% from the floor in general. Thought the big man rotation was kind of weird. I know there's some foul trouble in there, but Kohler 2 minutes, Booker 2 minutes, Sissoko 22 minutes, and Cooper 17 minutes. That just doesn't quite sit right with me.
yeah, Carr didn't play very much either. Which I
Yeah,
thought
Carr's got 9 minutes, 2 shot attempts.
Yeah.
yeah. One thing I was going to say, kind of bring back to dictating the pace and what you were saying, Willie. It does kind of feel like this year teams have been a lot better at our like transition defense against us.
Yeah.
Which really, if teams have finally figured that out, that's not great.
It's not good.
Is it that they figured it out or that we're not doing as well at it though? That's
hopefully it's
one. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, just one thing I was noticing too, one note I had earlier is that it kind of felt like Tyson has not been as hot lately. Looks like he finally got back in winning time mode at the end of that game.
Yeah, he had a slow start tonight. Yeah. Slow start, good finish.
Yeah. I mean, fantastic finish. He had what, like 12 points in the last 3 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Breaking news here. Ohio State is hiring Bill O'Brien
I saw that
to
earlier.
its coaching staff.
Yeah, I saw that.
I just got the alert on my phone, so I didn't see anything from it earlier.
Yeah, I think I saw rumors, not anything confirmed. That's interesting.
So, yeah. New offensive coordinator, Ohio State, Bill O'Brien.
Who's their transfer? Did they get a transfer quarterback yet?
Yeah.
Will Rogers or Will Howard? One of
No, it was Will Howard. Will Howard.
Yeah,
yes,
that's right. Interesting.
So, we'll get more into football talk there, but I thought that was an interesting point to bring up as
Definitely.
it came across. Yeah.
Izzo getting a tech. That's always fun.
I was gonna get into that. He was fired up, and I didn't really. I didn't think it was anything. I obviously don't know what was said. Right? He could have said some bad words, but I've seen him get more fired up than that and not get a tech. So I was a little surprised that he got a tech, but I didn't follow the officiating too much. I was kind of watching on my phone. I don't know what the big deal was. I mean, we were at the foul line, so I don't know what he was necessarily complaining about, but he was pretty hot.
Yeah.
I honestly missed that part altogether, so don't know how, but
Looks like Solari says Izzo on the technical. There were some calls I thought were questionable both ways. Says he probably deserved a technical. I guess I'm wrong there. And the ref probably deserved what I said. So, I mean, sounds like he wasn't happy with the quote before that it was a meat market in there both ways. I mean, it was a physical game. It was a meat market.
That's a perfect way to describe it.
You dirty dog.
Market. Couldn't have said it better myself, Tommy. All right. If you guys want to, let's talk a little bit the MSU basketball schedule. See kind of how the cards can fall because we really aren't that far. We're like what, 3 games behind Wisconsin?
Yeah, I got the standings right here. Let me see. We are 2.5 out of first place.
Okay.
It's like,
Two and 2 out of second place.
see, Maryland, Wisconsin. I mean, if we beat Wisconsin and Maryland, we're like pretty much tied for first, right? Let's just say that.
Yeah, but
We'll need some people
that's
to
a
lose.
game at the Kohl Center, though. Yeah, I mean,
We've been kind of decent at the Kohl Center lately. It's not an easy place to win, but they still want stuff. Let's steal one back.
they kicked our ass at home. Honestly, it was never really a good game.
That one did hurt. That was 2023 though.
Yeah, that's true. Whole year ago.
Exactly. That was last year.
I mean, should be favored in, let's see,
Most of the
2,
games,
3, 4 out of our next 5 games. I mean, at Maryland should be favored. I would think. I don't know.
We only have 3 ranked opponents coming on the rest of the schedule.
Yeah.
So
then at Wisconsin, I can't imagine we're favored in that game. Then Michigan, I would imagine we're favored. Maryland at home, I would think we're favored. At Minnesota, I think we're favored. Illinois at Breslin, I don't know.
Penn State at Michigan, Iowa, I think we'd be favored.
Yeah. And then Ohio State.
at Purdue is going to be rough at the beginning of
March.
March.
Lock that one up as a loss. I think I'm okay with that for now.
We always play bad there. And that's
then,
even in our best years. And then they have that stupid alien that just haunts my dreams.
And then you got Northwestern and Boo Booey lingering right after that.
Don't say it.
Yeah.
We can chalk that boy up as a loss too. I hate
back-to-back losses.
I really
start the month of March.
Get them out of the way. Indiana. At Indiana.
Yeah,
Assembly Hall. What a wonderful place to play for the Big Ten game of the year.
Yeah.
They really said, Izzo, prove you're Mr. March.
So 2.5 games out of first. Who are we behind? Wisconsin, obviously.
Wisconsin's in first. Purdue's in second. And Northwestern is in third. And then you have Illinois, Indiana tied. And we're half a game behind Iowa.
Okay.
So 6 teams in front of us right now.
So I think Iowa's going to drop off. Northwestern's going to drop off. One of Illinois and Indiana. I mean, Illinois is pretty good. I still think that Illinois loss, we lost by 3 or whatever. It was a close game on the road to a ranked Big Ten opponent. In the grand scheme of things, that's not a bad loss.
Yeah.
But we watched that game pretty closely. We did not play well at all. That game was there for the taking. If we would have played our B- B+ game, I think we would have won that game by 5.
Agreed.
Really good at one thing per game, and we just forget how to play basketball.
Yeah.
It's interesting that I feel like this year has been one of the easiest turnover years. We haven't had any really games where we've had too many turnovers, but we've not been winning. I will take I'll take the turnovers back if we get winning.
Seriously. I was watching that game tonight and I was thinking about what I'm going to say. And I was I am going to be I'm so worried and down on this team. And they ended up winning by 10. So I'm not going to sit here and, clutch my pearls over a 10-point win. But when they're bad, they're it's just frustrating. I mean, there was no reason on a Thursday night in East Lansing that Minnesota should have been lingering around like they were. I mean, that especially with all the foul trouble. I mean, Christie fouled out 5 minutes into the second half. I mean, he was gone before you had blinked. I mean, he had 3 fouls in 5 minutes.
Yeah. I think he played 12 minutes the entire game, 16 minutes, something like that.
Every time I looked
out a way to foul out.
Performance by Cam. I'm kidding, Max, you're good.
Yeah, I mean they had guys in fight. Every time I looked up, that's his 4th foul. And we were in the double bonus with 8 or 9 minutes left.
Oh
in the
yeah.
game. I just was how are we only up 2 points?
Yeah, I mean,
well, hey, foul shooting's one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Free throws have not been an issue the past few years. They are a thing this year. We need to
Yeah.
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah. What do
We're
we
like
end
one
up
of the
at
top
tonight?
teams in the country. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
like I
check
think the
here.
last 2 years we've been
Yeah.
shooting 80%.
We were 15 and 23 tonight.
That's not great.
Yeah. They were 17 to 26.
Yeah, that's equally
Literally 0.2% better than us.
bad. Yeah.
Good. I'm very much
That's tough.
But oh my gosh, talk about turnovers. They had 19, we had 5.
Wow.
honestly they
Anyway.
could have played like a bad MSU team.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
They reminded me
spot on.
of like 2021 MSU before Aaron Henry went off.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be lying if I said I felt good about this team. I don't feel like bad. Like earlier in the year, I felt bad. Like the sky is falling, especially like when we
Yeah.
lost those 2 back-to-back Big Ten games to start the conference play. I don't feel that bad, but I don't like feel good. Like the other day when Izzo was like, "We can go on a run. We will go on a run." Like normally that would fire me up, and I'd be like, "Okay, yeah, we're going on a run."
Yeah.
And then we would win the next game by 10 points, and I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, this team is so bad." I don't have that feeling. I just worry about this team, especially in the tournament. I mean, it's a 1 game do or die, and like I don't know. Like it's just they're missing something, and I don't know exactly what it is. I think it's kind of like you said, Nikki. It's like something different every night. I mean, it's not one consistent thing. Obviously, the half court offense, the 3-point shooting hasn't been stellar. It comes in waves, I feel like, but I mean, if you were going to point to one thing, probably competent big man. But I don't know. It's something different every night. I'm worried. I don't know. I don't know if this team has it in them.
Yeah. I mean, I want to feel good about this team, but at the same time, there's always something that makes you not. Like, there's plenty of reasons to be positive one night, and then they take 2 steps back the next night. And
Right.
It's ridiculous.
It's consistency. Like it feels like we play incredible basketball for like 4 minutes a night, and on really good nights we play it for like 8 minutes a night.
Right.
And if we
Yeah.
do that for like 20 minutes,
Yeah.
we're
Well,
good.
yeah, and the frustrating thing is like they're returning a lot of players from a team that was a
Sweet
couple
16.
shots away from going to the Elite Eight. Yeah, they went to Sweet
Mhm.
16. And so they're returning a lot of talent, and they brought in some young, really solid talent. And Trey Holloman looks really good.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like, what is going on here? And they just like can't get the job done. And then they have some really encouraging wins, like that Baylor game. That game against Indiana State. Those were like that was the team I was like waiting for. And then they just go like they have those nights like in Northwestern at Illinois. It's tough. It's really worrisome, like I said.
Yeah, just it's
Feel like
like
I'm being a Debbie Downer.
almost like it's the most kind of, this is going to sound really bad, especially as someone who's on a podcast. It's like happening. Like I just know that we're not gonna like we're gonna just. It just feels like we're gonna go to the Elite Eight maybe, and maybe we'll make a run of the Big Ten tournament. That could be fun, sure, but like it just doesn't get me juiced up because I just don't have that feeling of like, wow, this team can make a run. Which
Right.
sure, there will be times throughout the rest of the year where I will be so extremely back end, but like it just feels like it's taking a lot for me to get really back.
Yeah, I agree because like they could have beat Minnesota by 20 tonight, but like they're gonna play Maryland on Sunday, and they'll probably lay a stinker. Like that's like you just like it.
Yeah.
It's always like what's next with this team.
Yeah, that's why like for the tournament, it's like a natty almost feels like pretty much impossible because it's like playing 6 games in a row that are good is like, okay, that's not happening. That's not happening.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I also feel more nervous against like in the first round than I would in like the final four. Because like we laid stinkers against like teams.
Right.
It's just
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've come so far away from those natty expectations. I mean, we didn't even get a vote in AP poll last week.
Yeah.
So
that's
that tells you a lot.
yeah. I'm so with you, Nick. Like, and maybe this is a good thing. Like, there in the recent years, I've been all in. Like, I've said this team can absolutely make a run, and I just don't even have close to that feeling this year. I mean, I think they can get to the Sweet 16, Elite Eight, but you know, again, that would take stringing together 3 or 4 good games, and I don't even know if they can do that. I mean, it's just- I just don't see it, and maybe that's a good thing. I mean, maybe it'll be a little reverse jinx, so to say. But I don't know. This team is I don't know. It's not it. At least for my. I mean, hopefully I'm wrong. I hope I'm very wrong. But
I would love nothing more than to win every single game the rest of the year.
right.
Eat my words. They did that and they plastered this and said like, look at these 3 pieces of shit, and the entire
Right.
center like booing us. I would take that a million times.
A
I
million
will
times.
get
Absolutely.
chained up naked in the center of the spring of the court when people throw things at me for us to win that. Like I'm totally cool with that.
That would bring us a lot of views too.
That's
right. Yeah. You ain't lying.
yes, yeah, essentially. So yeah, that's Michigan State basketball.
Yeah.
So I guess next thing, anything you guys have any final thoughts on MSU basketball?
I've said my piece.
Thank you, Missy. All right, so football, we have nothing really too crazy. This weekend we are hosting some 2025 recruits. So early in the cycle, I feel like it's not even worth going over it. I know one of them
Yeah.
is Gauch, legacy kid.
Yeah.
Cool. TJ Sheffield looks like he's not enrolled with the program. I don't really know what's going on with that. I haven't been able to find anything on my message board intel. He could be maybe just finishing up his degree at Purdue and coming in the summer. I guess that remains to be seen.
Yeah, that's probably likely.
It's good there. I guess we could bring up Coach Jonathan Smith's press conference about the transfers. It wasn't anything crazy. Really just kind of talking about how some of the like Childs, Miller kind of helped bring continuity. They said there's gonna be a brand new scheme, both offense and defense.
Interesting.
Like that.
And he also said that he kind of he didn't talk to Rossi about defensive scheme. He just kind of completely putting it in his hands, which I think is interesting. Any thoughts on that?
No, I think that's what you hire him for. I mean, I can't remember if I think his salary was the highest for the assistants. I mean, if Coach John Smith trusts him to run the defense, I think that I mean, you're paying him 1.4, 1.6 million. I can't remember exactly what it was. I mean, that's good. I mean, I think that shows trust. I don't think he just hands it off to anybody. Also, he's an offensive guy, so you know, I think that I'm good with that as long as Rossi does the job.
Yeah. Any thoughts?
Yeah.
Liz?
I mean, he hit the nail on the head. That's the reason you brought him in, was to run the defense and rely on his expertise, especially John Smith being an offensive guy and the head coach being more like of a leadership kind of role model position than, you know, good leaders kind of delegate that kind of stuff to the people that can handle it. So it's kind of, you know, a way of kind of turning to him and making sure, you know, relying on his expertise, I guess, the best way to put it.
Yeah, definitely. A couple other things here. He said that they're not really slowing down on the recruiting trail, so they're going to be using that February signing day. I know they put out a couple of offers. I think a guy from Texas, receiver. Sean Cooper guy, so that's nice. He's big. One thing I saw is Smith actually had a Zoom call with nearly 200 former MSU football players introduce himself.
Good for him.
Pretty dope. I wonder who who's on that call.
Yeah, be a fly on that wall. Yeah.
That receiver from Texas, do you know his name, Nick? I can't. I
Jalen something.
Jalen Brown. Is it Jalen
Jalen
Brown?
Brown sounds about right.
Yeah, I was reading an article. It
Yeah.
sounds like he's like a hidden gem, maybe. So that would be nice.
That would be very. Hey, I'm all in on the gems.
I
Hidden.
like you the gems.
Smith hopes to move his family to East Lansing soon. That's probably good to not have him move in January.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the roads are pretty snowy and icy up here. So,
But you know what? One thing though, people are acting like Oregon has the best weather in the world. Like,
yeah. That's a
Like-
fair point.
like I remember the first picture when he came and he was out in Spartan Stadium and it was snowing and they were like, "Oh, I bet he wants to get back on the plane." Like,
It's
okay,
snowing in Oregon is northern.
It's not some hidden tropical
San Diego,
paradise or something.
California.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
people
actually,
what the hell?
it's
like,
actually
the way
kind of
people-
shitty if we're being honest.
The way people act about like him moving to Michigan and like being a West Coast guy, it's like people move across the country. Like people move. Like,
Yeah.
I'm
He's
never
not he's not surfer bro coming into Midwest football.
yeah, like that's not crazy. He's
Yeah.
All right, so another thing here. He said don't expect much from the transfer front for a few months. He says probably gonna be in the spring portal window. So I guess they're not gonna be going after those Washington Bama guys.
I think that, yeah, I mean, I think that makes sense. We've took in a pretty big transfer class as is.
Yeah.
Not to say that we don't need more. You know, you can always, I would never say no to talent, but kind of have addressed the needs. I think we wanted another quarterback. They got that. They got an offensive lineman. You know, I don't know if there's necessarily a position now that I'd be like, oh my gosh, we gotta go get somebody. And like I said, they brought in a fair amount of transfers as is, which I think is like expected for a new coach. But eventually, you don't want to be building your roster through the portal every year. I mean, the nature of college football, you're going to have to do some of that. But I think Jonathan Smith even touched on it a little bit. Like, you really want to be building your roster through high school recruiting, and then supplementing through the portal. So doesn't surprise me that they shift the focus a little bit to probably recruiting high school players.
Yeah, I mean, unless there's some home run superstar transfer
Right.
guy that wants to come here and play, I mean, they've done a great amount of work through there. It's
Yeah.
supplemented enough for a first year coach at this point. So
Did that offensive lineman from Holy Cross commit somewhere?
I don't believe so. I think
One
he's
that went to
his
Brother Rice.
degree. I think he might be finishing his degree and then doing it in the spring.
yeah, I haven't seen anything on him lately.
Why am I always forgetting his name?
Like Luke something.
No.
Luke Newman.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be the one that I would say
I would like
if you
him.
had to spend a little extra time on.
Spend a little extra and
Yeah, Luke Newman.
Yeah. Yeah. But Smith's done a great job so far, I think. I mean,
Sure.
there hasn't, obviously we haven't seen a single snap or anyone do anything yet, but for what the tasks that he's been given, for what he's been able, the stuff that he's had to do, I think he's met
He's
met
won
the
the press
expectations.
conference.
Yeah.
People say that's not that important. Oh, I like it. Like I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
better than losing the press conference.
Yeah, I mean, and our recruiting class jumped like 40 spots. So
Yeah.
I mean,
We
what do you
also,
want the guy to do?
I just realized we forgot to say, Demetrius Martin, former
Yes.
player, Oregon cornerback coach. Is that right?
Huge hire. Yes.
He's hired him as the last piece of the staff member.
Yeah.
Jay Smith's staff, huge hire. Apparently he was he was Pac-12 Recruiter of the Year 2022. Love it.
Yep. I think it's great. I always like, I wouldn't say just bring on someone because they're an alumnus or an alumna. I mean,
Yeah.
look at Harlan Barnett. I mean, that's not an automatic success, but like someone who's proven themselves to be a good coach and a good recruiter, and then you put them at their alma mater. I mean, I think that they're going to recruit with passion. They're going to, I think that just uh adds to their toolbox when it comes to recruiting. So I think it's a great hire. And Oregon's defensive backs, their secondary was fantastic last year. So if that's any kind of indication of what kind of coach he is, another great hire, it would seem from CJS.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good track record of putting guys into the NFL too,
Yeah.
besides recruiting. So
Bro,
another fantastic hire.
He's coached at like every school in the Pac-12, like Washington, like Oregon, like he's
Also-
all over the place.
also, happy birthday, CJS.
Yes,
Yes.
happy birthday, coach. If you're listening.
Yeah, we'll hope
He doesn't miss a show.
Unfortunately, there was some technical difficulties here, and we lost the second part of the podcast, the Lion Savant. So with that, we're just going to give you all a go green, go white, forward down the field, Savants never die, follow us and all that bullshit. See you guys next week. Go green again.